Okay, we're gonna start soon. All right, we're live. Okay. The board meeting is called to order at 6:37 p.m. If we have any public speakers, please be sure to to complete the yellow speaker card that's over here with Ms. Pineda. And then we are going to go ahead and move on to item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any questions or comments regarding the agenda?
Through the chair, I would like to pull some items.
Yes.
I would like to pull item 8A and 8G.
Okay.
Through the chair, I'll pull 8B also.
8B?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So any other questions or comments? So then I'm just gonna make a motion.
Through the chair, did you take a roll call?
I did not take roll call. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and do roll call. So trustee Bronwyn Alexander.
Here.
Trustee Tamara Shabomahi.
Here.
Trustee Meleke Latu.
Present.
Trustee Laura Nunez.
Here.
And I myself, Jenny Bloom, am present. We have quorum. All right. So item number 2, approval of the agenda. We have pulled item 8A, 8B, and 8G. Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding the agenda? All right. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those items pulled.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with items 8A, B, and G pulled.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We're going to move on to item number 3, which is special recognition of our trustee Bronwyn Alexander. So I'm going to read this little statement. After 18 years of dedicated service to our community representing the Belhaven area, Trustee Bronwyn Alexander has decided to retire from the teaching profession and relocate. Trustee Alexander has been a highly valued member of our community, advocating for quality education and tirelessly working to improve the lives of our students. Her retirement marks the end of an era, and her commitment and passion will be greatly missed. Throughout her tenure, she has played a significant role in shaping the district's future and spearheading initiatives to enhance educational opportunities. So we are going to take this time I know we have speakers regarding this agenda item, so I think we're going to start with the speakers, and then we, as the board, will speak after.
Through the chair, I have 3 speakers. We will start with Stuart Shirashi, our VP.
And for public speakers, you will have 2 minutes.
Apologies.
You will have 2 minutes to speak. 30 seconds.
Hey, Bronwyn, how's it going? Can't complain. I just wanted to come congratulate you on everything. Thank you so much. You were one of my first friends I made here in Ravenswood, and gladly we're still friends. So hopefully I'll see you one day up in Portland. Hopefully you'll come back and visit. I know you will. You meant a lot to the community, and I know that you have always cared about the community, and we're definitely going to miss you. So thank you so much. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Principal Masuda.
Have to move it down. Good evening. Trustee Alexander. It's so interesting calling you Trustee Alexander instead of just Bronwyn. But I am so proud of you and everything that you've done. When we first met back when I was teaching 3rd grade too, we worked a lot on creating units for the district and spending a lot of time together. So I really appreciate all of your advice and insight as a veteran teacher when I came in. And it's just amazing how much we've been able to actually watch each other grow and make changes. So I just want to say thank you and good luck. And I mean, I already talked to you earlier too. So, but thank you. I really appreciate everything that you've done for the community and for me personally. It really means a lot. And I'm hoping to make it up to visit you sometime as an excuse. So thank you.
Through the chair, our next speaker is Ref Board Member Carolyn Boucher.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Boucher, and I'm a longtime reading tutor in the district. I started tutoring in the district when I was 18. And I wanted to have my speech about Bronwyn be about the A, E, I's, O's, and U's because I love vowels. And I want to start with A, appreciation. Bronwyn is one of the best teachers and board members for appreciating volunteers. And when you have a volunteer, you can't pay them any money, but you pay them with appreciation. And she's so good. She's always so good at saying thank you. E, she's excellent at whatever she does. Bronwyn is always at the top of her game. So when she was a teacher, her kids were always performing at the highest level. So she became a TOSA, teacher on special assignment, and those students were performing at the highest level. Oops, I don't think I have 2 minutes yet. Okay, sorry. And then she was in the union and she became one of the union leaders. She was, and then she wanted to go into politics and became a school board member. So whatever Bronwyn does, she takes it to the highest level and always is excellent at whatever she does. AEI, she's inclusivity. I think we can all agree she doesn't discriminate against anyone's race or religion or orientation. And she's really improved the district in that way with all the kids that she's helped and feel inclusive, not only in this district, but in her other district she taught at. And then O, organized. I always know that Bronwyn is going to have read things. She's going to be ready to go. She's going to be on time. She's always organized. And then U, unique. I think we can all agree there's no one like Bronwyn and there never will be. So I'm really going to miss Bronwyn and hope to be able to see Bronwyn again. In honor of Bronwyn, I've brought cake and cupcakes. Bronwyn likes white cake, so there's white cake, but there's also some cupcakes on the side for thank yous to share with everybody. And I think Jenny wants us to do that right when people are going in, you guys are going into closed session. So thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for all you've done.
Our next speaker is RTA President, Ms. Rhonda White.
Hello, everyone. Superintendent, members of the board, members of the community, family, friends, and staff. I'm here to say thank you to Bronwyn Alexander. I won't go into all my stories like we did during the welcome back. I'll keep it short and sweet. And I just want to say one of the first things I remember is Bronwyn saying, I come from that district and I've received a lot of the Tinsley kids and they've always been in my room. They've always been welcome. And now I'm coming here to Bellhaven and I'm excited to be here. And then Bronwyn's room always had a snake. I learned to do better with it. And eventually I got to hold them and touch them. And the students were always engaged, whether it was the reading or the assignments or the extra. Her way that she connected with her students was amazing. Her ability to speak Spanish, her ability to just get in the community, then to buy in the community and just ingrain herself in the Ravenswood City School District community was great. And then when she made the decision to say, I feel like this is home, this is great, I can retire here. I need to do something bigger. I think I said, this is what I was most impressed about you. I'm willing to give up my job, my home, my family, so that my impact does not just impact my school and my class, but I'm willing to take on a bigger political role and be able to impact all the students and staff and community. So for that, RTA says, thank you. We appreciate you. We hate that you are retiring early and leaving early, but you so deserve it. I think we all got an invitation to the new house up there. So I just want to say thank you for your many years of service here in Ravenswood, what you bring, what you've done, and what you've sacrificed. We truly, truly appreciate it. And we love you. Thank you.
Are there
To the chair, that's our speakers.
Thank you. So now is the time for board comments.
Through the chair, unless you'd like to say some words about yourself first, but I can go really quickly, but I've got two perspectives I kind of want to speak from. And so the first is like on this side, being on this side alone and you on that side, not alone, I have other folks, but me versus you. When you were here back in the district and I was, a newbie here on the school board and we had some
fun times back in the day. And I just remember hating, literally hating this part, this like open session and comments, the beginning of open session with comments from the floor, because we would just get rammed with so many opinions. And you were there as well. But what I really appreciated about you, Trustee Alexander, was you always felt level-headed. You always felt very, I'm going to say, strong in your opinion, right? And bringing it with some evidence and bringing it with some logic as well as the heart. But you always, the way you communicated your opinion, I think was always in a very respectful way. But it was also firm. You let us know you were about business and this is important to you. But it was very respectful, very loving of the district that you were serving here as a teacher, and also as, you know, as a member of RTA. And so it was given in a way that was motivating to me as a board member. So I didn't leave here upset, like, y'all really got me, y'all really telling me off and I'm volunteering my time. No, you actually made me want to be better, be a better board trustee. So I appreciate that. And then from this side, perspective number two, having you over here on the side of me joking every day, you know, talking, distracting everyone on that side of the dais. But it's just been really fun. Because again, as we know, the work can be heavy. It's really challenging. You know, you're working on behalf of so many people and you want to get it right. And I think the heart, again, that you brought to the work is, yes, this is really important. And we can also enjoy this and we can enjoy it together. And I think I appreciate in the tense moment, you again have brought that level-headedness and you've been very collaborative in like your opinion sharing and negotiating of, you know, decision making. And again, I just want to express my appreciation for that. And I wish you all the best. I hope you join a board in Oregon because they will they will win if they have you. But I hope but I also hope you get some rest and enjoy your, you know, just enjoy life for a while. So thank you again for the new years.
All right, it's my turn. Trustee Alexander, when I first heard that you were stepping away, I was really sad because I felt very fortunate in how the last election went and how everything fell in place. And that I was able to get an opportunity to work alongside you in this board. I think that was like one of the greatest moments in district elections in our time. And I want to thank you for the grace you gave me when we were working together as newbies. I felt very confident working alongside you because you brought in such a great perspective that I felt like we haven't had in a bit of a while. Even if we agreed or didn't agree, we still left the table with so much respect for each other. And I love listening to your stories. I feel like I love Disney a lot more than I did before I joined. I want to go to Disneyland now, and I never wanted to go. And so I just love your tenacity. I love the experience and expertise that you bring to this board. I'm gonna miss passing notes to you. I feel like I'm a little sad, but I'm excited for this new chapter in your life. I support you 1,000%. I'm gonna come to Oregon to bother you, absolutely. And I wish you all the best. And you can always come back whenever you want. Anytime, come back.
You're the chair. I feel like I'm listening to all these stories and I'm very, very jealous. Because I only got to experience working with you for about 5 months. And so, but in those 5 months, not only can I echo everything that everyone has said, but I'm very appreciative that I got to witness the tenacity. And even when we're discussing like a million different things, you have a way of centering us to think about the students. So when we're met with those like tough decisions, we're like, no, we don't want to do that. That's not fair. You have a way of bringing us back and be like, but it's the best thing for the students. And it pushes us along in those decisions that we have to make. And so I really appreciate that. And I do appreciate you always bringing the voice for all the people who are voiceless, and making us center and become more of a place where everyone feels seen and heard and appreciated. And I wish we had more time to work together. I am jealous of everyone else on this table and around the room. But I am really, really thankful for the time that we did get to work together. So thank you, and I wish you the best of luck.
I'm going to go ahead and say a few things. Bronwyn and I already said a lot of things at the welcome back. But I'll say just one of the things that I said there was Bronwyn and I ran against each other in the 2020 election. And we were elected, I was elected with Bronwyn to serve on the board together. She was a formidable opponent. And it was someone I would, and you know, back then in 2020, if you asked me if I would say all the good things I've said and will say again, I probably would have said, no way, there's no way I'm going to say that. But being elected with Bronwyn and knowing how much she loves and cares for the students in the district, the teachers in the district, the staff, the volunteers, the community, just making sure that every member of our community in Ravenswood City School District is included and heard and represented and amplified is something that I truly appreciate. And like I said before, I'm not going to cry this time. So I'm not going to cry this time. But like I said before, you know, we are going to miss something. All of us have said we're going to miss having you, and we can't replace you because you're irreplaceable. We will fill that seat, but we cannot replace you because the work that you've done, and I read a little short statement here. Carolyn talked about it. The work that you've done goes beyond our time, like all of our time, you know, here. And I think that that's such an impact and such a beautiful thing for us to look to as an example and to strive for. And so again, I really want to say thank you for sacrificing your school family, your friends, these kids that you love so that you could serve with us on the board. Your voice is so appreciated. Your advocacy cannot be replaced. And I really hope that whoever comes to fill this seat will carry an ounce of the person that you are. So thank you so much. You deserve your retirement. Enjoy it. Relax out there because it's be less stressful than it is here. And hopefully not as much traffic. So, but thank you so much and congratulations on your retirement.
Trustee Alexander, thank you so much for your service in so many ways on this side and that side of the dais. As Carolyn said, AEIOUs, I have the 5 Ps where prior planning prevents poor performance, but I have some other Ps. One is your professionalism inside and outside of the classroom as a board member as well. Always prepared. And it was easy to be able to communicate and share information as you have been very direct. You take the emotion out of it and really stick to facts. And that helps me also stay level-headed. So I really appreciate that. Passionate, obviously you are here for the kids and you're able to get directly to the work to benefit the students. I would say maybe even perfectionism. You want to do well. And, you know, even when you're in the classroom trying to push outcomes that were on the better end for our children, you came prepared every day and you come prepared as a board member every time. You're present. And that means I can pretty much get right to the point because you're right there. I got it. I'm here. And I really appreciate that as well. And more importantly, proud. And what I mean by that is you come as your true, authentic self in almost every setting. And that's something I admire. And so thank you so much for representing Belhaven community, the Ravenswood City School District, and being an ambassador for our community. And as Trustee Bloom and the other trustees have mentioned, is going to be a seat that will be difficult to fill, but you set the bar. So thank you.
If you want to say anything.
Through the chair, can I say something?
Yes.
It's been my distinct honor to be here in Ravenswood
for 18 years. I've worked with so many incredible people in this district. Some of them are sitting right here in the room. Some of them are at home preparing lessons for tomorrow and ending the week. But it's just been an amazing 18 years of my life here. Giving up the classroom in order to become a TOSA and then leaving the district to become a board member. That was one of the toughest decisions I made in my life. Tougher than the decision to retire, because leaving the Ravenswood kids meant I had to go find some other kids to teach. And Ravenswood kids have a place in my heart. Our students are powerful. Our students are hopeful. Our students are hard workers, and they persevere through so much just to reach and graduate from 8th grade. And the community here that we have, teachers, admin, classified staff, bus drivers, everybody is here for the students. Nobody's here for themselves. And I will truly miss the Ravenswood community. Yeah, the reason that I can get through things and not be emotional is because I tend to not show emotions. So, but again, anybody on the staff who wants to come up and be in Portland, I have a guest room. Opening that up. I would love to see people. I'm going to be joining Michelle Champawat up there, who worked here for a number of years. And we will sit and gossip about you guys all the time. And don't think you're getting away from me either, because I know the website and I know the superintendent's phone number. So, and my Bellhaven people, Panthers are cool too. Thank you for letting me be here, and thank you for being a part of my life and sending me on my way with such gratitude and warmth and affection. And I will be taking that with me up to Portland. And I might run for school board. Who knows? This was enjoyable, and school boards need a teacher on the school board. So thank you, Laura, for being a teacher and on the school board, working with students every day, because we need that. And so does every other school district. Anyway, thank you very much to everybody here.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for your service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjourn us for closed session, and we will be back when it's done. But I will send us out at 7 p.m. and everybody please eat cake. Thanks.
You
Recording in progress.
Welcome back to the Ravenswood City School District meeting. We are back now in open session at 9:06 p.m. So I'm going to move on to item number 6, which is a report for action taken in closed session. For item number 4A, discussion was had and action was taken with a vote of 3-2. For item number 4B, discussion was had. So for item number 4A, trustee Shabomahin and trustee Latu voted against. 4A. Okay. We are now moving to item number 7. So do we have any members of the public who would like to address anything that is not agendized? This is the time to do so. As I see none, I will move on. So we are going to move on to the consent agenda. So I'm going to entertain the motion or I'm going to entertain the items before. So for individually. So for item 8A, the consideration to approve June 22, 2023 regular board meeting minutes was pulled because trustee Latu was absent. So I will entertain a motion for item number 8A.
I'll make a motion for, to approve item 8A.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed and abstain.
Aye.
So the motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstain. For item number 8B, the consideration to approve the June 8th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes. I believe it was pulled because trustee Shabomahin was not present for open session.
Yes, I came for a closed session and left after closed session. Yep.
So
I'll abstain.
yes, so I will entertain a motion to approve item 8B.
I motion to approve item B.
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstain.
Abstain.
So motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstaining. We are now moving on to item number 8G, consideration to approve MOU with Roy Advisors.
Yes, through the chair, I pulled this item because I just want further discussion on this MOU and the need for this position.
As indicated here, we are utilizing the expertise and support from Ann Waterman Roy to help us with our early childhood education. We received a grant as well, and this funding from the grant will be used to pay for the position. It's to help us also with improving the quality of our transitional kindergarten, as well as the coalition between the preschools and the district. In addition, supporting us with recruitment of early childhood education instructors and educators. And this is not new money. This is through a grant. And I believe also, yeah, so we received an early childhood education grant. And I'm not sure, there's other funding as well, but I believe it's currently funding that was already allocated towards this position in these services.
Thank you. With this position, is this, do we foresee this being a position that needs to be included in our reorg?
I think it's something that we will need to consider, but at this time, we're looking to explore how to support first our transition kindergarten and our communication and relationships with our early childhood education. We have talked about expanding and building upon our early childhood education program, as we may consider expanding the capacity of the services that we provide for early childhood education, since there is such a great need. Also in the packet in our parcel tax, there's inquiry about the appetite for our community to want the district to expand and provide services for early childhood education.
I absolutely support the need. I just want to ensure that we are consciously thinking going forward how we're going to merge a position like this into our permanent ecosystem. When I say ecosystem, but into our organization, if it's a priority, because I have no opposition against the person on hand. I just think that if this is a strategy in, for the years to come, we should think about making a position for this given need. That's my comment.
Oh, so did you want to add anything else? If there's no other questions, do you have any couple points to add? Or are you good? Please.
Good evening, board members. Completely agree that we need to consider how we want to make this a sustainable program, how we're going to continue to support. I think the question right now is we're actually doing a very robust and rapid growth of a TK program in our pre-K connections. And the hope is that actually after we've kind of gotten this up and running and we have these really strong programs, we actually may not need that other person to continue to hold the work, because this is really just, if you think about it, it's that extra set of hands to kind of help us get it started. And then hopefully that can get pulled away and we've got the systems and structures and supports in place. So it doesn't require that other person. That said, I would at some point potentially want to look at, again, how we're structuring and how we have some early education expertise that we're really leaning on throughout the district. That doesn't necessarily have to be a coordinator. It could be more of like a coach or some other person who really understands the instructional components. So this is sort of more of a technical lift right now, making sure that we're really getting everything up and running really adequately, so that we can then like take off and make it amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 8G.
Make a motion to approve item 8G.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstain? All right, motion carries 5-0. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the approval of the full consent agenda minus item 8A, B, and G. Do I have a motion?
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, item number 8.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we will move on to item number 9, the consideration to approve the tentative agreement with CSEA.
Good evening, trustees. I'm here to present to you the tentative agreement that we have proposed for our CSEA union partners. This includes a 4.05% increase to the existing salary schedule. It is the same increase that we agreed upon with our teachers union.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I will entertain a motion to approve the tentative agreement with CSEA.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this agreement with CSEA.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will move on to item number 10, the presentation on the bond update and next steps.
Good evening, trustees. Pleased to be joined here by Shin Green from East Shore Consulting. He's been working with our district for many years on our bonds. He is going to give an update on our bond finances today and some next steps. With that, I'll pass it over to Shin.
Thank you, Reese. Shin Green with East Shore Consulting. Pleasure to be in front of you here today. And Wanted to be at this meeting in advance of some actions we'll be taking at the next meeting to approve and authorize the issuance of bonds coming up, but a little bit of background very quickly here. With respect to the district, you have a mission of not just educating kids, but also maintaining facilities and support systems for those educational programs. And so that is often a very expensive prospect. Schools in California are built to extremely high standards in order to survive, earthquakes, calamities, and really serve as shelters for the community in the event of emergency. And so to afford building such buildings, oftentimes districts look to general obligation bonds as the most common means to finance such facility needs. When we talk about the GO bonds of the district, you have currently 3 sort of measures since 2016. Those include measures H, S, and I, the most recent measure. And really, we've seen really rapid growth of your tax base and really favorable market conditions since 2016, which has made it pretty easy to outperform promises made to voters with respect to the overall cost and tax rates for the bonds. The prior 2 authorizations, measure H and S, have gone a long way. They have allowed us to open a comprehensive middle school, as well as address critical repairs and improve technology, security, and really take several significant steps at modernizing all the facilities of the district. Currently, the district is commencing with the first issuance from its most recent authorization, that's Measure I, and that is going to continue the progress that's been made really along the lines of the vision that was laid out in the facilities master plan from 2016. Here you see a summary of all your voter-approved measures over time for the district for GO bonds, specifically not your parcel taxes, and there have actually been 5 GO bond authorizations. The first 2 of which in 1996 and 2000 are now fully matured. And you have currently 3 GO bond measures since 2016, which have basically authorized by voters in combination about $206 million for facility improvements. To date, the district has issued all of the authorized bonds under Measure H in 2016, as well as all the bonds authorized under Measure S in 2018, raising a total of $96 million. That is the original issuance amount. The district has since repaid $12 million of that amount, and the final repayments on those measures occur in 2046. Looking at Measure H, that is the warm, safe, and dry measure. Those of you who remember that, and was really mainly focused on getting and dealing with critical facility needs, immediate repairs that needed to be done just to preserve structures. With a great degree of success in that, the district then moved on to Measure S, which really was a prioritization of safety and modernization of campuses. And at this state, you have fully expended just about all of Measure S dollars. We're in the last kind of phases of those proceeds being spent down. And really are getting ready to commence with the next round of projects, which includes some major work at CCRMS. Indeed, when we look at the kind of scope of what's going to occur over the next handful of years, and really just looking at next year, we're looking at almost $48 million in total construction. But we're going to get a lot done with that, use classroom wings, reorganization of the campus, et cetera. And so over the next few years, it will be a very busy time for facilities. And really, Measure I was designed to fund these next round of projects with an issuance anticipated in late 2023. And as you know, if you remember, in April of this year, you actually approved an estimate of that repayment to submit to the county so that we would have a tax rate levied in the current fiscal year, 23-24. And so here you'll see a schedule of kind of our anticipated cash flow for the projects, the various sites, as well as an issuance plan for the bonds to access the full $110 million. Measure I was approved under Prop 39, which means that it has a tax rate limit of $30 per $100,000 of taxable value. That's different than actual market value, tends to be lower. And is also expected to, complete a significant amount of projects with the 110, really bringing us not maybe to completion of the FMP or facilities master plan as originally envisioned, but certainly taking care of a vast majority of those projects which we're contemplating. What we anticipate doing is a single series issued in the next month or two, followed by additional issuances every 12 months for a period of roughly 24 months, where we will have accessed the full 110 million that voters have authorized. We are looking at that initial series being $50 million, followed by 2 series of $30 million each. And given the larger issuance amounts, spreading them out as opposed to trying to issue it all at once and better aligning with your actual cash flow needs for projects is an important thing to do. In fact, by splitting them out this way, we estimate that by not issuing that 60 million today, you'll save over $4 million in interest expense for your taxpayers. So it's a very efficient way to kind of make sure that we are raising the money we need for the projects when we need it. Additionally, the district is fairly close to its statutory bonding limit. If you remember way back when we started this, we talked about a kind of statutory bonding limit, which really allows for about 2 full Prop 39 programs. You've had some really rapid growth, but that really rapid growth is done a lot to get us to a higher bonding capacity limit. But now, as we enter our 3rd authorization in recent time frame and are issuing larger amounts, we will be getting close to that bonding capacity limit. Indeed, today that limit kind of has about a net capacity of 51.2 million. And so we anticipate using and issuing most of that available capacity with this first series. With higher than kind of recent historic interest rates, we are looking at this and kind of sharpening our pencils and looking for ways to create additional efficiencies. And there will be some things we'll be doing a little different than some of the prior bond issuances, but do want to point out, actually, that bullet is no longer true as of late last week. We were on average in interest rates within kind of the 20-year averages for most rates. However, now we're more like within the 30-year averages for most rates. And a lot of pressure on our rates in years 1 through 10, the front end of the curve. A lot of that has to do with actions by the Federal Reserve Bank to mitigate inflation concerns and their interest rate increases, which really have a big impact on the front end, years 1 through 10. Years 10 through 30 are actually still kind of in alignment with that 20-year average overall. So a lot of pressure on shorter term rates, less pressure on longer term. That will inform how we issue the bonds. We'll probably be issuing more longer term bonds at this time to take advantage of the better market conditions there while trying to avoid the front end. With that being said, to the extent viable, we will, of course, pursue the flexibility to refinance these just as we have with all of the previous debt of the district. That will allow you opportunities to improve on those interest rates as markets improve and hopefully save taxpayers additional money downstream on interest expense. Similar to very much what we did with measures H and S. And would like to point out that with Measure I, we will be bringing back documentation to approve that issuance at the September 14th meeting, as well as the accompanying as-to-form documentation. Want to just drill into bonding capacity very quickly. Bonding capacity is a state statutory requirement. It basically says that a non-unified district is allowed to have 1.25 of its total taxable value in outstanding bonds. Today, that total gross bonding capacity is about $134.9 million. We currently have about 83.7 million outstanding, leaving us a net capacity of about $51.2 million to issue. When you run out of your bonding capacity, technically you cannot issue bonds unless you receive a waiver from the State Board of Education. It is a waivable provision within state code. And actually, because in California, there are a lot of communities that see rapid growth, master plan subdivision communities, things of that nature, not uncommon for those waivers to go forward. I'm not aware of any being denied. Usually there's about 5 or 6 a year. And they will approve waivers typically up to almost twice the capacity limit. So when it comes to bonding capacity limit, while it is a process we'll have to go through, we'll go through that process for the future issuances. It is not something of concern right now, and there are ways to get around that limit, which are fairly standard and common. You're not a master plan subdivision community, but the rapid reuse of property within the community has seen a lot of very large increases in their taxable values. And so with that, despite those increases, we have hit that capacity limit, but we know that there's also future growth coming. So not a lot of concerns there, just a heads up that there'll be an additional piece of the process in the future. Specific to kind of the modeling, very small numbers. I can send this to you in email if you'd like, because you can play with the spreadsheet more. But what I wanted to show you is our projections of the whole bond program. And something I'd like to highlight here is you'll see a couple of maybe red looking numbers off to the right. Those are the projected tax rates. Given where interest rates are at this very moment, we would project if we did this exactly as shown here, we have a lot of pressure on those tax rates in this measure I in the front end. I do believe we'll be able to cure that. That's what I talked about, saying we'll avoid those years 1 through 10. We probably won't be putting any principal or not much principal in that in the near term, just to stay away from those higher rates. Believe it or not, years 1 through 7 or 8 rates are actually higher than the long-term rates downstream. Want to just briefly highlight the bond issuance process to you. This will be a foreshadowing of the next meeting. We won't repeat this at the next meeting. We'll spare you that there and just allow you to act on the documents. But the fundamental steps for issuing a bond include obtaining legal authorization through board action. It's a resolution. Completing a credit review process, which is getting a rating for the district. We're underway and kind of working on this presentation for that at this time. Preparing the legal documents that memorialize the bond issuance. Setting of interest rates on a specific date through a negotiated process, and then completing the legal documents once that process is completed and we know what all the final numbers are. And once we have that, proceeds are transferred to the county, where you can then expend them for projects. In September, the board will be presented with that resolution for an issuance authorization of up to $51 million. We always put a little cushion over what we intend to issue. I can tell you right now, we're probably targeting 50 on the nose. Even though the resolution will say 51. In addition to that resolution that provides the legal authority to issue, it also approves documents in their format because we don't have the final numbers. We can't have a finalized set of offering documents and contracts and agreements. So you are going to approve the form of those documents in addition to that resolution. When those additional documents are completed, it'll all be provided to the district in a transcript. We have them for all the previous bonds. In addition, we're in conversation with Fitch Ratings in early September as our planned time to talk with them to reinforce and affirm the district's AAA highest possible tax base rating, as well as potentially seeking an upgrade of the underlying rating. Would point out you guys have done some great work at building fund balances over the last few years. And also as you approach basic aid status, those are two things that rating agencies like to see and could be very good positives for the credit rating of the district overall. I'm certainly not concerned about any downgrades despite the rough economy. The asked to form documents that you will see include a bond purchase agreement. That's the agreement that memorializes the interest rates and all the bond terms. A paying agent agreement, which is really the agreement between the district and the banking entity that transfers the money and keeps track of the individual bond owners. A disclosure certificate, and a certificate that gives the district the district's commitment to provide ongoing information to investors in its bonds. I would point out that continuous disclosure certificate exists for all your prior bonds. So it's not that we'll be doing anything new with that, but simply adding these bonds to that mix. And then most importantly, a preliminary official statement, which is really the offering document. That is an SEC controlled document. Reese and I have been working very closely in Will's absence on getting that document updated. And it's getting pretty close to being ready to be finalized for your consideration. And then, as always, we finalize that right before we post it to make sure we have the latest and greatest financial information. So it will include things like your unaudited actuals by the time we get there. Each of those documents, again, will be completed in the process and are approved through the resolution. With respect to the timeline, a couple of things I want to highlight here. The stuff in gray is things we've already completed and we're kind of well into the process. But at this board meeting, I'm presenting this information. You're also going to be, just as a sidebar, considering Prop 39 Citizen Oversight Committee bylaws as your next agenda item. Would like to point out that the Prop 39 Oversight Committee is a requirement of how your bonds were approved. You've had these committees in the past. And the good news is it doesn't require an individual committee for each authorization. That one committee can serve for all authorizations. And the bylaws before you today are substantially identical to the same bylaws that existed for previous committees. Beyond that, we are targeting sort of a mid-October closing of this when funds will be available for construction projects. Last topic here is just the AB and tax rate kind of trajectories here. Would like to point out again, we had some great times during measure H and S. For 23-24, your tax-based growth rate was down to 3.43%. That is substantially lower than it's been in recent years. but not a bad growth rate by any stretch of the imagination, still above the Prop 13.2%. We know that this slowdown is in part a byproduct of the pandemic and increased interest rates, but we're also aware of significant projects that are coming in on the University Avenue corridor that will again pick those kind of tax rate or tax-based growth rates up. So we don't think you'll return to the peak growth rate, which was 24% in a single year. It's pretty amazing. That is very similar to what a master plan subdivision looks like when they're putting in 1,000 new units in a fairly empty community. It takes that kind of stuff, but you guys have had it internally here, which is really amazing. But we do believe that over the long run, a more modest 5 to 6% average growth rate is very reasonable for your community and historically tracks very well. And especially given the kind of strong growth pressures, I think that will be there for reuse of properties in the near term. In fact, we took a haircut on our estimate when we provided that tax rate estimate to the county, in case we didn't know what the tax base would look like today. So we took a little bit off the top and took a little too much off the top because we didn't go to the full $30 rate at the county. It only required $25.40. So we had a little more growth than we had actually projected. And keep in mind, you're safely below your $30 statutory limit. So we're in very good position there. Beyond that, we have your previous two bond measures. Your measure H, $13, your measure S, $29, again, both below, measure H significantly below the $30 estimate. And the Series 2023 will be structured to make sure we leave space for those future $30 million issuances. So it'll be a little bit more in the front, a dip, and then flatten out. With that all being said, we've talked about everything else, but really great program so far. A lot of great progress made since 2016 toward that 2014 Surrey Master Plan vision. Great execution on measures H and S, and looking forward to continuing that progress going forward. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Thank you very much for your work and for explaining this and always knowing all of the details for us. We really appreciate the work that you put in and the ways that eShore helps us just do the right things with our bond. And we are excited to continue construction in all of our facilities. And I will say the last point, which was you're proud to have to assist us in meeting the expectations, meeting and beating expectations, and encourages us to continue to publicize the highly successful facilities efforts and as we move to provide world-class classrooms for every student. So thank you very much for even including that point in your presentation. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the work that you do. And we will continue to cash out these bonds to make our facilities amazing, the best in the county.
Definitely. And there's some really exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, thank you. We are going to move on to item number 11, which is consideration to approve the establishment of Bond Oversight Committee and resolution to establish the committee.
Good evening, trustees again. As Shin talked about in his presentation, there are a number of documents that will come before the board. For today, there are two specific documents. One is to approve the formation of a bond oversight committee. This committee will oversee and review the expenditures that will happen during the bond, and all applicants will pass by the board first. And the second is the bylaws for which the committee will work under. The bylaws for this are similar to ones that have been used in the past for other bond oversight committees. That concludes my time.
Thank you. So I will entertain a motion to approve this item number 11. Or is there any questions or comments? Questions or comments? No? Okay, now I will entertain a motion to approve.
Wait, really quick question through the chair.
Mhm.
This bond oversight committee, did we, is there trustees involved and did we already appoint them?
This is for the,
Separate?
yeah, this is separate. This is Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
Citizens.
Yes. Yeah. And since it's a resolution, we need to read the resolution, right? Okay, so I will entertain a motion and then we have to read part of the resolution.
Through the chair, I move to approve item number 11.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And then we have to read before we vote. So.
Oh, she has the paper.
Oh, you have it? Oh, okay. You're gonna read it? All right.
Um, Board of Education of Raymond City School District, County of San Mateo, resolution number SY 24-3. Whereas the Board of Education, us, of the Ravenswood City School District duly called a school bond election, and the election was conducted by the registrar of voters of the County of San Mateo, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 12 is the presentation of the parcel tax renewal survey to receive direction from the board.
Yes, so on June 22nd, our board approved an agreement with FM3 Research to poll voters in the district on a renewal of our existing parcel tax and possible increase to early childhood funding. We have worked with FM3 to draft the attached survey questions to understand levels of voter support for these tax measures. And so we wanted to get the opportunity specifically from this board, if there's any feedback, and then to give direction on being able to move forward with this survey. The survey questions specifically.
Any comments or questions from the board? I know this is a survey that has some repeat questions, so we'll be able to gather data regarding the questions that we previously asked as well.
And we can use this information to help us refine the ballot measure, the language that we use on the ballot measure.
Okay. So I believe that we are looking for direction. So direction would be to
Move forward.
with the survey.
The survey questions.
The survey questions, yeah. Right. Yes. I looked through the questions and they are very similar to the one that we previously did before we went for the bond, when we were going through and creating the survey to ask our community about how they felt about a bond. So this is very similar to that type of survey that we did. And this organization has our historical data. So it is great to get some of those answers in the poll about what our community desires for what they want to see in our schools. So. Okay.
Through the chair, yes,
Yes.
the survey looks great. I love the questions. It is extremely long. I'm just.
I think that it's separated. So I know that what they've done before, it splits. So they get either this track or that track, but we get both tracks to review to approve. And then I believe there's also like it's all on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all on the phone. So it's a conversation that they're having with someone versus someone reading through every single thing. And they either get track A or track B, but we're seeing A and B together right now. That's why it feels very long.
Got it.
So the chair, I can't remember off the top of my head. The last time we did a survey similar to this, what was the number outcome that we had of replies?
What comes to mind, I feel like there's about 300 respondents.
The projection that they gave us was they predicted the percentage of so we put a bond on the ballot and they projected, we think that this bond will be approved by X amount, by X percentage. I'm looking at Shin, just making sure that he's nodding. And they have been pretty much very close or on point every single time that they've done the survey for us. So the range that they gave us of the approval of the bond based on this survey was pretty much on point for the last 2 bonds that we've done. I'm not sure about the parcel tax information because I was not here for the last parcel tax.
Yes.
Yeah.
and we're
So
not here. in this seat.
yeah, I was not in the seat. So this survey actually really helps us understand the demographic and the voting demographic of how they lean. Because if this survey comes back and the voters or the community members that are polled are not in favor of a parcel tax, then we have the information we need as a board to decide if we're going to go for that or not. Right. And so these percentages from this specific survey actually is very helpful to us for us to make the next steps and the next decisions. Does that answer your question?
Sort of.
Okay. If there's another question that Shin can explain better than me, I am happy to. You got it? Okay. All right. So I think that we need to look for a direction. I have read through this and my opinion is that we move forward with this specific survey. So I don't know if there's other direction points that we want to give as a board. Yes, this is a direction. Yes. That we continue with this specific survey.
Any,
Go.
primarily, is there any feedback in regards to the questions? And then are we given, do we have direction from the board to proceed with these questions on our survey?
Right. Any other comments? Because
Through the chair, I believe the reason why we're bringing it before the board was there were questions about what we were going to ask on the survey, and we wanted to get the board's input on that as a governance team.
Yeah, through the chair, the questions are great. That's that's what I said before. I was just concerned about the link. Could you tell me how people are contacted? Meaning, not the mode of, not phone versus, but like how is someone chosen?
This is Shin Green, East Shore Consulting. Usually what they will do is they will take a voter file and select it scientifically to try to get a good sample. They look at various metrics of the voter demographics to try to make sure that they are mirroring the community's voting population in the anticipated upcoming election. So usually there's a targeting list, and then as they look and get calls, they check off how many of each category they've got. They need more of this. They keep working until they get to that kind of scientifically right sample size to give you accurate data.
Okay, thank you. And one more question, how else is data from this survey used?
The data from this survey, generally speaking, is summarized and presented back to you, and they'll show you top lines and trends within that data. Maybe do some of these questions are designed to work together to kind of ferret out feelings and leanings of certain constituents. So it'll be presented to you, and really that is used for your purposes for decision making. So for instance, you have a parcel tax that currently exists, which will expire in 2026. This will inform us as to what that tax should maybe be doing if it's continued, if we can increase it, what programs the constituents may be most interested in supporting. It's usually just given as data to help you make decisions.
So a couple of the questions are related to the annual cost of a parcel tax and the various ranges. And so we can get a sense of what the community would support. In addition, we've gotten results from the bond survey, and we've had positive remarks that have been, or remarks about the district, which have improved in regards to the community's outlook on the district. In addition, from the results, we can use the results to speak as matter of fact about the community's support for the bond. We can't campaign for a parcel tax, but we can use information from the survey to speak to the support the community has about the parcel tax.
That is correct. You are precluded from advocacy for a measure as a public entity, but you are allowed to gather data, figure out, information. And again, I think one of the most powerful things is the fact that you have a lot of these questions going back several surveys, so you can see the trends and how certain changes have impacted the community sentiment, and maybe lean into those for future initiatives and measures.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering, just looking at the questions again and just wondering if there are other ways, because I don't know that I've ever sat in on a conversation or discussion about, the specific, like going down into nuanced specifics of the data from the survey, like this before. I think I've heard like, okay, we did a survey and we've got X percentage of approval or something like that. But so that's what I was just wondering, like, how else could we what else is in here that we could tease out and how it helps inform other things or other discussions we might have. So that's just so you know the intent of my question.
Great. And then included in this parcel tax are questions around early childhood education. To get.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think board direction is to proceed with the question, the survey as is. Right. Thank you. So we will move on now to the superintendent's report.
So we can go on to the next slide, introduction and overview. So the trustees, we complete our 7th day of school today, and we're incredibly excited about the successful start of the school year. And I wanted to share some highlights with you if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at some of the communication or been part of the excitement on our campuses. I definitely want to emphasize that it's been a collaborative effort from our team members and community partners and our expanded learning program partners. So one of the main highlights is I've coined it as the Belhaven Elementary School Miracle. Literally working until the morning of the first day of school to ensure that our portable classrooms, which are quite lovely, actually, very modernized, which is considered our temporary housing for temporary classroom location for our students until we break ground and complete construction and modernizing all of our classrooms at Belhaven. But we've done an exceptional job there. And I specifically want to highlight just the spirit around the school team, the teachers, the staff, the administration. More importantly, I want to thank the volunteers and the construction partners and central office team members who were able to pull off a successful first day of school for Belhaven Elementary. And I think it's just a testament to all of the members across the district who have really stepped in, filling gaps where needed, where our families and students didn't notice a blip. I also want to make sure we highlight our team members behind the scenes and who have really contributed in a positive way, specifically our transportation maintenance technology and our C&E teams. They played a crucial role in ensuring that our campuses are fully prepared for this year. Kemi, for example, and Alfredo from the transportation office would be seen putting together filing cabinets in between their routes in preparation for the start of school. And here in this picture is Selu, who's helped us, and I think 3 of us were on that tour. 3 of the trustees were on that tour with our former city mayor and board of trustees, Sharifa Wilson, giving a history of East Palo Alto and Belhaven to our new staff members of our team. And I just want to make sure I emphasize the importance and appreciation for our classified school employees for their work. In addition, I want to make sure I acknowledge our extended school year partners. They have been invaluable, ensuring that we have a seamless coordination across all of our schools. EPAT specifically supporting our middle school PE program this year and helping us support and make it more structured. And then they'll be continuing throughout the entire year, supporting our tennis sports team, as well as supporting the PE program at the middle school. I want to specifically highlight Coach Paco, who is definitely somebody the kids resonate with and relate to, and he has a tremendous presence at the site. I also want to recognize our Boys and Girls Club and their after-school program. They've been a key stakeholder in providing consistent, sound, reliable after-school program where they're providing essential care and skills development until 6 p.m. And then we're excited to welcome City here, who's before care services at the Castaño School site there. We hope to expand in our other schools in the near future. I want to also emphasize that this year, as we did last year, we're prioritizing our effective environments for student learning. And so during the initial days, our focus has been on CSTP2, where we're creating and maintaining effective environments for student learning and environments for staff to ensure that they are able to take risks as well in their own learning and professional development. And our staff has been committed to making sure every child feels seen and heard, welcomed, and safe. And notably here is an example of Margaret Thompson, our business analyst, who went beyond her usual role to ensure students were safely introduced to their new teacher at Bellhaven, which truly embodies the essence of CSTP2. So for the first 3 days, everybody here in the home office were at the 3 school sites, except for staff who of course had to hold it down here at the home office. But we are going to make sure that everyone understands we are here for kids. And she did not let that little man go until the teacher caught eye contact and walked them to the classroom. I also here want to emphasize that site administrators are hands-on in the classroom. We are trying to make sure that they are actively involved at our site in the classrooms across all our schools. So they've been present on a daily basis since the start of school, demonstrating their commitment to being directly engaged with students and teachers. And also, as our Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Sarah Stone, has mentioned in the most recent communication to our staff and also in her social media, putting research informed policies and practices into action. So our site administrators are taking proactive steps to put research informed policies into action, where recently they led their first professional development session at their respective sites, focusing on strategies that ensure access and opportunity for every student. And this commitment is to apply best practices to ensure that students are in a fostering, nurturing learning environment. And this is going to be hard. This is where the rubber meets the road. Are we truly implementing the elements of our instructional core? And especially with our teachers and our site administrators, we are learning about the California standards of the teaching profession and really trying to be very competent in those standards, so we know what practices in place will actually move us from emerging to innovating. And not just to move the teachers from emerging to innovating, but so we improve outcomes for students. And then lastly, I'm proud about the shared dedication and vision that we have, where it's been a very successful first week because I think it truly reflects our collective dedication and shared vision. So I'm thrilled to share also how our middle school team partners, the mayor, and the community services coordinators, so the mayor and I believe Maurice Baker, were there to speak to our students, not only to speak to our students, be with our students. And we want to emphasize how important it is that we have community elders, members, people that our children can look up to, see themselves become, be in their lives, be present at the schools. As I've mentioned before, and I want to emphasize, we are the architects of our community to build stronger schools in order to have informed, educated, socially, emotionally solid students to give back. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I will just say thank you so much for all of the work that all of the Ravenswood City School District has put in. Staff, teachers, members, partners have put in even before the first 7 days of school. The picture of us on the tour, not only that, I know every school site had welcome back events for kids before school started. And as a parent, I know that really helps students feel at home on their campus. And it really changes drop off when they already know who their teacher is, when they already know who the after school program help is going to be, when they already know who's going to be greeting them on their first day of school. That really sets the tone in the sense that it brings down the anxiety. And so I just really want to thank our teachers, our principals, our staff, our partners to have given their time to be there to really get to know families, enjoy families, have ice cream and cake. And I don't know if there's cake, but there was ice cream and there was pizza at our site. But then I think that there was lots of pizza last week, according to my daughter. But I think that it was just very, very good for our kids to just really feel welcome back onto their campuses. So thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item number 14, which is the consideration to approve resolution number SY 24-2, the National Hispanic Heritage Month and Latino, Latina, Latinx Heritage Month in the Ravenswood City School District. Yes, well, I will entertain a motion and then we will read the resolution.
I move to approve item 14.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Proclamation resolution number SY 24-2. Okay, recognizing September 15th, 2023 through October 15th, 2023 as National Hispanic Heritage Month and Latino, Latina, Latinx Heritage Month in the Ravenswood City School District. Whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month and Latino, Latina, Latinx Heritage Month in the United States are observed each year from September 15th to October 15th to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas the month serves as an important reminder of how much strength we draw from our immigrant roots and our values as a nation of immigrants. Whereas the month includes the Independence Day of several Latin American countries, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Chile, and Belize. And whereas the Latino, Latina, Latinx community is exceptionally diverse and includes indigenous people from throughout the Americas. And whereas the Latino, Latina, Latinx community comprises the largest racial or ethnic group in the United States, with the largest population living in California, and represents 80.3% of students in the Ravenswood City School District. And whereas members of the Latino, Latina, Latinx community have made countless contributions to the United States economy and culture, serving in all branches of the armed forces as dedicated public servants and as leaders in education, healthcare, business, and entrepreneurship, and other professions. And whereas the Heritage Celebration provides a wonderful opportunity to highlight the diversity of the Latino, Latina, Latinx community and its many and rich contributions to the Ravenswood City School District. And now, therefore be it resolved, Ravenswood City School District has an important role to play in educating students and the larger community about the diversity of the Latino, Latina, Latinx community and its contributions to our local community, the state of California, and the United States of America.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0, or resolution passes 5-0. Thank you. We will move on to item number 15, which is the governing board provisional appointment applicants. So 15A is to consider to accept and discuss eligible applications presented by Board Appointment Subcommittee for the provisional appointment of the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board.
Should I talk? I don't know. Through the chair. Yes. Thank you for hanging in with us. It's 9:59. Let's go quickly. Okay, so as a member of the subcommittee, I'll report. We've gone through our applicants. As you know, we had an application process that was open to anyone who was interested in being considered for this lovely seat here that Trustee Alexander is giving up, unfortunately. And so we got 3 applicants who got their applications in by the deadline, which I will remind everyone was August 17th, 2023 by noon that day. So 3 folks got it in before that time. Did also want to say that there were 2 that came in after that time. But what we have here are the 3 that got it in on time, but just wanted to make sure everyone knew about those other 2. And so what's next is everyone meets the criteria for consideration. And so now we need to accept these applications and then consider them, go through the interview process and all that and talk about that. Is that good? Cool. Yep.
Thank you. So now we are going to discuss the interview process for item B. And so
Through the chair, I
Yeah.
believe that item 15A is an action item too.
it's an action item, so we have to, okay, approve. So I would make a motion to accept these three.
I have a question.
Yes.
Quick question. Sorry, apologies. Through the chair. The other two applicants submitted their applications on the same day. It was just after 12. That was it.
So any applications that came, I think we had this discussion too, right? Before we set the thing of just anything after the deadline just wouldn't be accepted. So yes, unfortunately, if you did submit and you are not considered, it's because it was not met by the deadline. Okay. So I will entertain a motion to accept these three applicants. I know.
No.
Trustee Alexander cannot vote or talk or speak during this time.
I move to accept the three applications and move forward with the process.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstain.
Abstain.
So motion carries or accepting carries 4-0 with Trustee Alexander abstaining. All right, so now we will discuss the interview process. I know that the item 15B, I know that the questions were sent to us by email. So I believe if we have comments regarding the questions that we should talk to the superintendent during our, well, one-on-ones, but
Or via
via email because
Yes, so any input that you may have about the questions, happy to incorporate the feedback and then I can email back to the trustees. And if there's any other feedback, I will make the modifications and then have them ready for the interview on the 29th.
So speaking of the 29th, that is the special board meeting that we have reserved for this interview. So our hope is to bring in all three applicants to interview them. And I believe our board meeting is set for 6:30 PM on Tuesday, the 29th. Correct.
The 29th at 6:30 PM.
Yes. So I just want to confirm that everyone will be here and we will. Okay, so
Through the chair, can we explore other times? On the 29th?
on the 29th, I am open to exploring other times on the 29th if it is later in the evening, but I would not be able to do earlier. And I think that many of our trustees, well, one of our trustees is a school teacher, so that might not work at all.
No, I would have explored to go earlier, but.
Well,
it seems like
how
that's
much
not an
earlier?
Option,
How much earlier?
but whatever time would be.
On Tuesday, the 29th.
Let's see,
5:30.
5:30 is being suggested. Yeah.
Does that
5:30
work
works
for?
you? Through the chair.
Yes. Sorry, that was just a,
5:30 would work.
um. That,
And the reason I'm exploring question for
go ahead.
transparency, each interview is going to take, it just seems like a really long meeting.
Mhm.
If we're allotting candidates the same amount of time and a discussion. So. And I am a school teacher. You mentioned.
Yes. Okay, I can do 5:30 if everybody else can. Gina, can you do 5:30? Okay. All right, so 5:30 PM on August 29th, Tuesday. Does that work?
Through the chair, you want to go earlier or is that the earliest we can go?
If the majority of this board would like to go earlier, I can figure out my schedule to make that happen. So you tell me the time that you would like, or
Yeah.
you guys, you ladies.
Which I don't want to inconvenience anyone, so if
No,
that's
I'm
the time
fine.
it's good, but even if we just go to 5, but to your point, I'm thinking about, which I guess we'll talk through the questions, but if we're thinking on average and each one being
20 minutes, then time between, and then time to discuss. That could be a long meeting. So I'm good for going as early, I mean, 5, maybe even 4:30, but I don't know what other folks.
Through the chair, as a person that was on the other side, it was a fairly long process because we had public comment as well. I don't know if anybody else was part of that process.
I remember that process as well.
I don't think that we will have as, well, I don't know. Public comment may not last as long as it did last time. But again, we never know. I am open to going earlier, but I also am concerned because we have 3 people who also work. And so if we go any earlier than 5, I feel like if someone can't come because they are working, on the application, I think we said, are you available at 6:30? Isn't that what we said? So we'd have to reach back out to those 3 individuals to see if they are available. And I know that we can stagger them, right? So I know they don't have to be here right at 5. So I'm definitely open to that. If we wanted to move to 4:30, we can, but I just also want to keep into consideration that we have people who work too.
I'd be happy with 5 or 5:30.
5 works for me.
Okay, so let's do 5. Can we direct Superintendent Sudaria to connect with the 3 applicants to see if they're available at 5
Yes.
on the 29th? Thank you. Okay. Interview process, we discussed it. So I guess 20 minutes for each person going through the questions. We will discuss after each applicant, and then at the end, we will make our decision, discuss, and then make the decision. Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to address in this?
Oh,
Through the chair, I think we should go over, I think we should go over the questions.
Do you want to go over the
Oh.
questions publicly?
It's a good question.
I-
Yeah,
I
let's give
believe
folks
that-
something to practice with.
Right, so, everybody was encouraged to also observe this meeting, to be informed, and I was under the impression that we would hold the questions and that individual trustees would share feedback with me, and then I would incorporate that feedback to the modified questions.
I'm okay with that, especially when we're on the other side. It wouldn't give anyone extra time to come up with the perfect answer.
Yeah.
And just to clarify through the chair, the applicant questions aren't final, right? That's not the questions we're going to be interviewing with, right?
No, there's a document that was sent.
The ones that were sent are not final. I'm
Yeah.
happy to incorporate any feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that we should address?
There are 3 candidates and there's only 4 trustees. So if there ends up being a tie or there is not an agreement of one of the 3 candidates, then majority, then we can reopen the application process. But
Or we could have a discussion until majority is met.
Correct,
What is our, because I just want to clarify that we do have a timeline.
60 days
Yeah.
from, so August 25th, tomorrow is the effective date, the 60-day timeline starts. 60 calendar days. Until potentially, I will have to double check, but either we go to an election or there might be, I think either election and there's something else, but it's out of our hands after that. Out of the trustees' hands.
Through the chair,
Yes.
question again about how we're going to finalize interview questions. And if we're not talking, if we're going through you, like, how would you know what to put in and what to take off? Right? Because we have a number of questions now, and if I think you should take some off, but someone else thinks you should keep them on, I'm just wondering how how are you gonna navigate that?
So I'm happy to. Would you like to see if that actually happens? Or if you all would like to have a public conversation about the questions, I'm open. It's
Yeah, I'm
the
just
board.
bringing it.
Yeah,
to the board.
I wonder if we have time to, because if they are if they are here, and last time what I know what we did is we asked everybody to wait outside and not watch the live feed, right? So not log into YouTube, not log into whatever and watch the live feed. So if they are all here and we do want to modify or have a discussion regarding the questions, if there was like conflicting ideas, we can have that discussion in the beginning and then we can bring them in one by one. So they would be here, but they wouldn't be able to, or the conversation would be public, but they would not be listening.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, I'll clarify though, because this is a public meeting, the candidates can elect to stay and they can also still be able to listen to what's going on in a public session. Yes, so yeah, so I think, yeah, so what we could do is consider an alternative location. They could still watch it publicly, but they're not in the same space as the person who's doing the interview. We can offer that, which we did offer the last time we went through this process, I believe.
Okay. So then I think that we can just go about it for, if there's any comments, that we give Superintendent Sudaria that send that email by tomorrow, because tomorrow's Friday. Because we have Friday and Monday and that's it, right? So, and then if there is something that we cannot figure out, then we can have that discussion on Tuesday at the start of the meeting. Okay.
I think we should just agendize that we're gonna have that discussion in the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
Just because it's a tight schedule that we're on and some of us got a lot going on this weekend. So
Sure.
putting a couple hour deadline to send an email is just a little push.
Okay. Okay, so we will have that discussion at the start of the meeting at 5 p.m. Okay, so we're going to move on. Any other questions or comments?
Nope, that sounds good.
We're going to move on to item number 16, which is the dates for the board retreat, specifically for inducting the new board trustee and cultivating cohesive governance mastery. So I was hoping that we could do a retreat because I was really hoping to do one in January for Trustee Nunez, and now we're in August and we will be doing it in September. So I was hoping we could hopefully pick a date the week of September 12th through 15th or 12th through 15th or a weekend. So because that first week is Labor Day.
To the chair, do we have any availability for the following week? Because I will be out of town for work.
Sure. The 17th, the 18th or 19th or 20th or 21st even. Do we have
and do the 18th, 19th or 20th?
I can't.
Through the chair, I'm just thinking I'm preferring a daytime. So is it possible to have some daytime on those dates at all, you know, just versus the nighttime? Yeah. Through the chair, how much time should we be allotted to this retreat? What was the question? How much time?
How much time?
I would leave it, I would defer to the board.
We did a half day, right? We did a 4, it was like, right? We did 8 to 12 or something. Because the other option is to do it on a Saturday.
Well, the goal is we're onboarding the new member to the governance team. So determining, being able to consider how the board will engage with each other and catch trustees up to that trustee up to the governance handbook. What's in the governance handbook.
Through the chair, should we wait till that person comes on then to see if the date works for them?
I would like to have something scheduled. And then if it doesn't work, then have that conversation. So I feel like it's much better if we have it scheduled. I honestly, like, I mean, if we're thinking about what could work, we could just do the Thursday and say we do it at 5 that week, which is the 21st, Thursday, the 21st, do it at 5 to 8. If that doesn't work, because that's just our normal board meeting date. So that's why I suggested that. If that doesn't work, then we could just plan for a Saturday morning, a 9 to 12 or a 9 to 1. The Saturday, the 23rd. Trustee Latu, will you be out of town the 16th as well? Saturday, the 16th.
I have a work event at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So I will not be available.
I'll throw these out there. I can do a Monday morning, the 18th. Which is that's for 10 months. Or I could do the Thursday that you're suggesting, the 21st from 15.
Or we could do like a Wednesday
I
afternoon.
cannot do that one.
We can't
I'm
do
looking
Wednesday.
at that week in particular.
Okay.
I can do the Monday or I can do Thursday.
Okay.
I'm unable to confirm a date at this time for there, so I think y'all can just throw out whatever you want and I'll see. I have like 5 calendars I have to look at that I don't have with me.
When you said daytime, what do you mean by daytime during that week? Because you said, can we do it during the daytime? So what do you?
Yeah, I was asking, is it ever a consideration to do a
It-
daytime
it-
meeting or is it always presumed to be?
We can do it in the daytime. I just would want a day and a time. So if
Yeah,
you,
just putting it out there, but I don't have anything.
Do you-
I can't confirm. I literally have 5 calendars. Literally. All right, since you want placeholders,
The chair. I think this could be a scheduling conversation that we can have with the superintendent and we're
I
more prepared.
would like to have a tentative date set today because this is something that we've been trying to schedule since January. So I would really like to have a tentative date set today. So
Through the chair, then I'll abstain until we have a proper time, because you're telling us that it needs to be 4 hours.
I said that's what we said. I'm having a discussion because that's what we've done in the past. It does not have to be 4 hours. It can be 2 hours. But
There's, we did our first board retreat with David Cash. We did 2 half-day retreats. And so maybe we can condense that to 1 half-day for 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. Or the board can condense it to 2. One of the days that was offered was Monday, the 18th during the day, and then an evening was the 21st. I don't know if anybody was opposed to the 21st, though. The evening of the 21st. Actually. And then maybe the 18th during the day. I know it's really hard for the educator in the space,
think-
but it looks like maybe
I
it
think
could be a
what I'm getting at
hold.
is Trustee Shubhamani says that she has to check her schedule. I'm trying to figure this out right now. We have a new trustee that is joining our team who's brand new. We have another trustee that's brand new. And I think it's really important that these 2 newer trustees get prioritized. And we have a discussion with the superintendent when we're a little bit more prepared. is what I'm saying.
I agree, and I'm fine with that. If we can all agree to set a date by the end of next week, because this is something that I have tried to schedule through the superintendent in one-on-one meetings, and I have not been able to get consensus. And so either we schedule a retreat and not everybody is there, which has happened in the past, or and I'm fine with being open so everybody can check their calendars and their schedules. But I will say that if this is not set by the end of next week, then it will be an agendized item for every board meeting until it is set. Because this is something that I have been trying to communicate with every board member here to set, and we have not been able to set a date. So I understand the restraints and the constraints of all of the calendars and the scheduling and emergency situations and different people's schedules with their families, with their work. I definitely understand that. But I also want to set a timeline for us to make sure that we communicate with the superintendent to pick a date. So I'm happy to do that as long as we can all agree that we will have that conversation with her by the end of next week.
well, through the chair, I just want to clarify. I think the difficulty has been the consensus on the date. That is the issue, is that you've got six of us who are very busy. And so it's just finding the date where trying to get the date where everyone can be there, not necessarily the conversation with the superintendent. So just clarifying that. And then I am perfectly fine if folks want to pick a date right now and a time right now. I'm just unable to commit and say I can be there. So I can suggest a date as well. I just can't confirm my presence there. So just want to be clear that that's understood as well. But I'm also not trying to hold up you from picking a date.
I don't think there was anybody opposed to September 21 right now. I'll put that on hold, and when I have my one-on-ones, I can reference that date. And if there's another suggestion, I'll also make sure those dates are collected.
Thank you. We will go ahead and move on to item number 17, board reports and communication.
Through the chair. In the interest of time and the fact that I'm leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow and I haven't finished packing my house and I really need to be at home, I'm going to do my board report and then I'm going to say goodnight. So, I, for the very, 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 very first time, had the pleasure of being at every campus on the first day of school. And I have to say that that was an incredible experience, from Bellhaven, Castaño, CCRMS, Los Robles, Ronald McNair. You saw some of my photographs up in Gina's report. It was so wonderful to see every teacher, every student, the smiles, the number of kids who showed up on the first day of school, how ready things were. I'm very excited about our administrative teams at each site. I'm very excited by what I'm seeing in the classrooms already. And I just wish at Ravenswood, all students, staff, everybody, the entire community, a wonderful, wonderful school year and many éxitos by the end, or successes. So with that, goodbye and good night.
Thank you. Any other question or any other board reports or communication? There is the roller skate, is it Roller Skate Bloom event that is happening on Saturday at Bloom House. So everyone who wants to roller skate, please come out. Trustee Latu is putting on an amazing event for us in our community. All right, I'm going to move on to item number 18, which we do not need. And then 19, a special board meeting will be held on August 29th at 5 p.m. Our next regular board meeting will be held on September 14th. That date, this is item number 20. That date was incorrect in our agenda, so it will be on the 14th at 6:30 p.m. And with that, we will move on to number 21. The Ravenswood regular board meeting is adjourned at 10:23